beloved of the Lord, today is not just another morning, it is a divine appointment with purpose, power, and possibility. Have you ever wondered what could happen if God truly went before you and prepared every step of your day? Imagine waking up with heaven already moving on your behalf. Does that stir faith in your heart right now? What if your prayers didn't just rise, but went ahead of you to open doors, shift atmospheres, and silence every unseen battle? Tell me in the comments, what is one thing you want God to go before you and handle today? Because when the Lord goes before you, fear loses its voice and peace takes the lead. Have you felt that kind of confidence before? This moment is your invitation to align your morning with divine authority and unstoppable favor. Where are you watching from today? And what does your morning usually feel like? Rushed, heavy, or hopeful? As we step into these powerful morning prayers, expect burdens to lift and clarity to rise. Do you believe your day can shift starting right now? If your heart is ready for breakthrough, let your faith respond. Will you agree with me in prayer today? And if you're standing in expectation, go ahead and like or share this with someone who needs God to go before them too. Because no one should walk into their day alone. When you invite God to go before you, you are not simply saying words. You are releasing divine movement into spaces you have not even entered yet. Have you ever paused to think about what your day would look like if every path was prepared before your feet touched the ground? Imagine doors opening before you knock, solutions forming before problems appear. Can you see that happening in your life today? When the Lord goes before you, He rearranges what you cannot see and aligns what you cannot control. Have you ever faced a moment where everything seemed uncertain, yet somehow things still worked out in your favor? What if that wasn't coincidence, but divine preparation already in motion? Inviting God to go before you means trusting Him with conversations you haven't had yet, decisions you haven't made yet, and challenges you don't even know are coming. Think about your schedule today. Is there anything ahead that makes you feel nervous or unsure? What would change if you truly believed God was already standing there waiting for you? Preparation is powerful, but divine preparation is unstoppable. Have you ever noticed how different you feel when you walk into a place with confidence instead of hesitation? What if your confidence came from knowing heaven had already handled what you're about to face? When God goes before you, He clears emotional clutter, removes hidden obstacles, and positions the right people at the right time. Have you ever met someone unexpectedly who became a blessing in your life? Do you think it's possible that moment was arranged long before you recognized it? Sometimes we rush into the day carrying yesterday's weight, yesterday's worry, and yesterday's fear. But what would happen if you released all of that and allowed God to prepare today instead? Tell me honestly, do you usually start your mornings with peace, or do you feel pressure before the day even begins? Inviting God to go before you is an act of surrender. It is also an act of authority. You are declaring that your life is not random, your steps are not accidental, and your outcomes are not left to chance. Have you ever spoken over your day before it started, or do you usually just react to whatever happens? Think about the power of beginning with intention instead of reaction. How different would your mood be if you believed every detail was already being arranged for your good? Can you feel the shift that kind of belief creates inside you? When the Lord goes before you, He prepares opportunities you didn't expect and protects you from dangers you never saw. Have you ever been delayed somewhere, only to realize later that delay may have saved you from something? What if divine timing has been working for you more often than you realized? Preparation is not always visible, but it is always effective. Do you trust what God is doing even when you cannot see immediate evidence? Or do you sometimes feel the need to control every outcome yourself? Inviting God to go before you means releasing the illusion that you must manage everything alone. Be honest with me. How often do you carry responsibilities that feel heavier than you can bear? What would it feel like to hand those burdens over before your day even begins? When you ask God to go before you, you are placing divine wisdom ahead of your decisions. Think about the choices you need to make today, big or small. Wouldn't clarity feel like a gift right now? Have you ever wished you could see just one step ahead with certainty? He doesn't just prepare places, he prepares you. He steadies your emotions, sharpens your discernment, and strengthens your spirit. Have you ever noticed how peace changes the way you respond to pressure? How would your interactions shift if calm confidence led every response today? Preparation also means alignment, aligning your thoughts with purpose, your attitude with faith, and your expectations with possibility. What are you expecting from today? Struggle or breakthrough? And how might your expectations shape what you actually experience? When God goes before you, even ordinary moments carry extraordinary potential. That meeting, that call, that routine task, what if each one holds unseen significance? Do you ever consider that small moments might carry big outcomes? Inviting God to go before you transforms the unknown from something frightening into something sacred. Instead of asking, what will happen? You begin asking, what has already been prepared for me? Which question feels more powerful to you? This is not passive living. This is partnership with divine movement. You walk forward, but preparation has already gone ahead. Can you sense the difference between striving alone and walking supported? So as you step into this day, imagine every pathway touched by divine order, every interaction infused with purpose, every challenge already met with provision. Can you picture yourself moving with confidence instead of hesitation? Can you feel what it means to be guided before you even arrive? Now pause for a moment and think about the very next thing you will do after this. Where are you going? Who will you meet? What will you face? And what would shift inside you if you truly believed God is already there waiting, arranging, aligning, and preparing every detail before you even take that step? When you speak prayers that shift atmospheres, you are not just whispering hopeful words. You are releasing spiritual authority into the environment around you. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt tension, heaviness, or pressure without anyone saying a word? What if your voice, lifted in prayer, could transform that entire atmosphere before anything even happens? Words carry presence, and prayer carries power. Have you ever noticed how one encouraging word can lift someone's spirit instantly? Now imagine what happens when your words are aligned with faith, intention, and divine authority. Can you sense how that changes everything? Atmospheres respond to what is spoken with conviction. Think about your home, your workplace, or even your own thoughts. What kind of environment surrounds you most often? Do peace and clarity fill your space? Or do stress and worry seem louder? When you pray intentionally, you are not reacting to the atmosphere, you are reshaping it. Have you ever tried speaking peace into a stressful moment before it escalated? What would it look like if calm entered the room before conflict even had a chance? Prayer is not passive language, it is active alignment. Every word spoken in faith becomes an invitation for order to replace chaos. Have you ever said something out loud and felt your own emotions shift just by hearing the words? What if your prayers could do that on a much deeper level? Shifting atmospheres also means shifting expectations. When you declare peace, you begin to look for peace. When you speak favor, you become aware of opportunity. What are you expecting to experience today? Pressure or possibility? And what have you been speaking that reinforces that expectation? Divine doors open where intentional words are released. Doors of opportunity, clarity, connection, and breakthrough respond to alignment with purpose. Have you ever experienced a moment where something opened for you that you didn't plan or force? Do you believe your prayers could position you for more of those moments? Sometimes the atmosphere around us feels resistant, heavy, or uncertain. Resistance is not permanent when authority is present. Think about a time when negativity surrounded you. Did you absorb it, or did you challenge it? What would happen if prayer became your first response instead of your last resort? When you speak prayers that shift atmospheres, you are declaring what is possible instead of agreeing with what is visible. Do you tend to describe problems more than you declare solutions? How might your day change if your words focused more on transformation than frustration? Your voice carries influence, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Have you ever prayed out loud and felt strength rise within you as you spoke? What if your environment responds to your faith even more than you realize? Atmosphere shifting prayer is not about volume, it is about alignment. Quiet faith-filled words can carry more power than loud, fearful ones. When you speak, do your words reflect trust or uncertainty? And what message do you think your environment receives from that? Opening divine doors also requires expectation. When you pray for opportunity, you begin to recognize it when it appears. Have you ever missed an opportunity because you didn't believe it was meant for you? What if prayer helps you recognize doors you once walked past? Prayer prepares pathways that effort alone cannot create. It connects timing, positioning, and favor in ways you cannot manually arrange. Think about something you've been hoping would open in your life, a chance, a breakthrough, a solution. Have you spoken life over it consistently? When atmospheres shift, people respond differently, outcomes unfold differently, and even your own mindset changes. Have you ever noticed how peace helps you think more clearly? What if prayer creates the mental and emotional space where wisdom can flow freely? Some doors open quietly, without announcement or recognition. Others open suddenly, with undeniable impact. Are you paying attention to the subtle shifts happening around you? Could small changes be signs that something greater is unfolding? Prayer also changes how you carry yourself. When you believe doors are opening, your posture changes, your tone changes, your confidence changes. How do you walk into a room when you feel unsure of yourself? And how differently would you walk in if you believed something meaningful was already prepared for you there? Atmospheres respond not just to what you say, how consistently you say it. One prayer matters, but persistent prayer establishes momentum. Are your words steady, or do they change depending on how you feel each day? What would consistency look like in your spiritual language? Speaking prayers that shift atmospheres means choosing faith-filled language even when circumstances feel unchanged. Have you ever spoken hope before you saw evidence of improvement? How did that affect your outlook in that moment? Divine doors often open in response to readiness. Prayer aligns your heart with what you are asking to receive. Are you preparing internally for what you've been praying externally? And if opportunity arrived today, would you feel ready to walk through it? Your environment is not fixed, it is responsive. Your future is not sealed, it is influenced. Your voice is not small, it carries creative power when aligned with faith. What kind of atmosphere do you want to live in daily? And what words will you begin speaking today to create it? Just imagine walking into every situation knowing peace has already been spoken there, favor has already been released there, and opportunity has already been invited there. How would that change the way you approach the next conversation you have? What would shift inside you if you believed your prayers were already moving things into place right now? Fear and anxiety often try to arrive before anything even happens, filling your mind with possibilities that haven't become reality. Have you ever noticed how your thoughts can race ahead of your actual experience? How often do you feel tension about something that hasn't even occurred yet? Replacing fear and anxiety with peace and confidence begins with awareness. You cannot release what you do not recognize. When was the last time you paused and asked yourself, what exactly am I afraid of right now? And is that fear based on something real or something imagined? Fear speaks loudly, but peace speaks with authority. Anxiety rushes, but confidence stands steady. Which voice do you usually respond to first when pressure appears in your day? Sometimes anxiety disguises itself as responsibility, making you feel like constant worry is necessary to stay in control. Have you ever felt like if you stop worrying, something might go wrong? What if peace actually positions you to handle things more wisely instead of less carefully? Peace is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of stability within activity. Think about a moment when everything around you was busy, yet you felt calm inside. What allowed you to feel grounded in that moment? Confidence grows when you realize you are supported, guided, and strengthened beyond your own effort. Have you ever faced something difficult and surprised yourself with how strong you actually were? Where do you think that strength came from? Anxiety drains energy before action even begins. Fear weakens your focus and clouds your judgment. How different would your decisions be if your mind felt clear instead of overwhelmed? Replacing fear is not about pretending challenges don't exist. It is about choosing your internal response to them. When something unexpected happens, do you immediately assume the worst? Or do you pause long enough to consider that something good could still emerge? Peace reshapes your breathing, your posture, your tone, and even your perspective. Have you ever noticed how your body physically responds when you feel anxious? What would change if calm became your natural state instead of tension? Confidence is built through repetition, repeatedly choosing trust over worry, clarity over confusion, and stability over panic. When challenges repeat in your life, do your reactions stay the same, or are they becoming stronger and calmer over time? Your mind is a powerful environment. Whatever dominates it influences everything else. What thoughts tend to visit you first thing in the morning, pressure or possibility? And how do those first thoughts shape the rest of your day? Fear often asks, what if everything goes wrong? Peace gently asks, what if everything works out? Which question do you think creates more strength within you? Anxiety focuses on uncertainty, but confidence focuses on preparation and trust. When you think about the unknown parts of your life right now, do they feel threatening or full of potential? What perspective would serve you better moving forward? Peace is something you allow, not something you chase. It becomes present when resistance fades and trust rises. Is there anything you've been holding tightly that is creating unnecessary tension inside you? Confidence grows when you remember past moments of resilience. Think about something you once feared but eventually overcame. Does remembering that experience change how you view your current challenges? Fear narrows vision, but peace expands awareness. Anxiety fixates on problems. Confidence notices solutions. When you face difficulty, what do you see first, obstacles or options? Replacing fear also means replacing the language you use internally. What do you say to yourself when things feel uncertain? Are your thoughts encouraging or discouraging? Peace gives you the ability to respond instead of react. Have you ever said something in a moment of anxiety that you later wished you had handled differently? How might calm awareness have changed that situation? Confidence does not mean you have all the answers. It means you trust that answers will come when needed. Does uncertainty make you freeze, or can you move forward one step at a time? Anxiety often grows when attention stays fixed on what cannot be controlled. What would happen if you shifted your focus toward what can be influenced right now? Would that feel empowering? Peace brings steadiness to decision making. When your emotions are calm, your choices become clearer. Can you remember a time when you made a better decision simply because you paused and centered yourself first? Confidence transforms how you carry yourself through the world. Your tone changes, your energy changes, your expectations change. How do people respond to you when you feel secure compared to when you feel uncertain? Fear anticipates failure, but peace anticipates growth. Anxiety predicts loss. Confidence expects learning. Which expectation feels more aligned with the life you want to live? Replacing fear is a daily practice, not a one-time decision. Each moment gives you another opportunity to choose calm over chaos. How often do you intentionally choose peace during your day? Peace also strengthens your ability to be present. Anxiety pulls you into imagined futures, but calm keeps you grounded in what is actually happening. Are you living in today or constantly projecting into tomorrow? Confidence grows quietly, built through small moments of trust and steady thinking. What small step could you take today that reflects courage instead of hesitation? Imagine moving through your day with a steady heart, clear mind, and grounded spirit, even when unexpected things happen. How would your conversations change? How would your energy feel? Now consider the very thing that has been causing you the most worry lately. Can you picture approaching it with calm strength instead of tension? What would shift inside you if peace became your first response instead of fear? Aligning your morning thoughts with faith, purpose, and authority begins the moment your awareness awakens. Before your feet touch the floor, before your schedule begins to speak, your thoughts are already shaping the direction of your day. Have you ever noticed how the very first thoughts you think in the morning seem to set the emotional tone for everything that follows? What usually greets your mind first? Anticipation or pressure. Your morning mindset is like a compass, quietly guiding how you interpret every situation you encounter. If your thoughts are scattered, your focus becomes scattered. If your thoughts are grounded, your actions become intentional. When you wake up, do you consciously choose what fills your mind, or do you let yesterday's worries automatically return? Faith-filled thinking does not happen by accident. It happens by decision. You intentionally direct your focus toward possibility instead of limitation. Have you ever tried guiding your thoughts before they begin running on their own? What difference would it make if you took authority over your mindset before anything else tried to influence it? Purpose-centered thinking brings clarity to ordinary moments. Suddenly, even small tasks feel meaningful because they are connected to something greater. Do you see your daily routines as random responsibilities, or do you believe they are part of a larger direction unfolding in your life? Authority in your thinking means you are not led by mood, emotion, or circumstance. You lead them. Instead of reacting to how you feel, you decide how you will respond. How often do your emotions decide your outlook for the day? And what might change if your outlook came from intention instead of impulse? When your thoughts align with faith, doubt loses its influence. When your thoughts align with purpose, distraction loses its appeal. When your thoughts align with authority, hesitation loses its control. Which of these do you feel challenges you most? Doubt, distraction, or hesitation? Morning alignment is powerful because it happens before the world places demands on your attention. It is a quiet moment of direction, setting before movement begins. Do you give yourself time to center your thoughts in the morning, or does your day begin in immediate motion? Faith-filled thoughts remind you that possibilities exist beyond what you currently see. Purpose-filled thoughts remind you that your actions have meaning. Authority-filled thoughts remind you that you have influence over your internal world. Which of these feels most important for you to strengthen right now? Alignment also affects how you interpret challenges. A faith-aligned mind sees growth where others see difficulty. A purpose-aligned mind sees learning where others see inconvenience. How do you usually interpret unexpected interruptions in your day, as problems or as opportunities? Your thoughts are not just reflections, they are creators of direction. What you repeatedly think becomes what you naturally expect. What you expect influences what you notice. Have you ever realized that you often find exactly what you expect to find? Purpose gives structure to your attention. Instead of drifting through the day, you move with awareness. Do you begin your mornings knowing what truly matters most, or do you discover it only after reacting to everything else first? Authority in your thinking means you decide what deserves your mental energy. Not every thought deserves space in your mind. Not every worry deserves attention. How often do you allow unnecessary thoughts to occupy your focus longer than they should? Faith-centered mornings create emotional stability. Instead of being shaken by every new development, you remain steady. Can you imagine how different your conversations would feel if your mind stayed calm regardless of circumstances? Purpose-centered mornings create direction. You move with intention instead of wandering through responsibilities. Do you ever reach the end of a day and wonder where your energy actually went? Authority-centered mornings create confidence. You trust your ability to respond wisely, choose intentionally, and remain steady. When something unexpected happens, do you feel prepared internally, or do you feel instantly overwhelmed? Alignment is also about consistency. One intentional morning helps. Repeated intentional mornings transform patterns. How consistent are your mornings right now, structured or unpredictable? When your thoughts align with faith, you begin expecting support instead of struggle. When your thoughts align with purpose, you begin seeking meaning instead of distraction. When your thoughts align with authority, you begin choosing response instead of reaction. Which shift would most transform your daily experience? Your internal language shapes your external behavior. What you tell yourself influences what you attempt, what you avoid, and what you believe is possible. What is the most common message you repeat to yourself in the morning? Morning alignment also strengthens focus. When your direction is clear, distractions lose their power. Do you find yourself easily pulled away from what matters most, or can you stay centered on your priorities? Faith brings trust into uncertainty. Purpose brings meaning into routine. Authority brings stability into change. Which of these do you feel would bring the greatest peace into your mornings? When your thoughts are aligned early, decisions become easier later. Clarity established in quiet moments carries strength into busy ones. Have you ever noticed how preparation makes pressure easier to handle? Alignment also affects how you interact with others. A centered mind listens more patiently, speaks more thoughtfully, and responds more wisely. How might your relationships change if you entered every interaction already grounded? Your morning mindset is not just preparation for activity, it is preparation for influence. The energy you carry affects every environment you enter. What kind of presence do you bring into the spaces you move through each day? Faith, purpose, and authority together create a powerful internal foundation. From that foundation, confidence rises naturally, clarity flows steadily, and direction becomes unmistakable. When you imagine starting tomorrow morning with full alignment, what do you think would feel different first? Your thoughts, your emotions, or your actions? Walking forward knowing heaven is already working on your behalf changes the way you experience every moment of your day. Instead of feeling like you must force outcomes, you begin to move with quiet confidence and steady expectation. Have you ever wondered how differently you would walk into your day if you truly believed things were already being arranged in your favor? What would shift inside you if preparation was happening before your effort even began? When you believe divine help is already active, uncertainty loses much of its power over you. The unknown stops feeling threatening and starts feeling purposeful. Do you usually see uncertainty as something to fear or something that might carry hidden opportunity? This awareness changes your posture, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. You stand differently when you know you are supported. Have you ever noticed how your body responds when you feel secure compared to when you feel alone? Trusting that heaven is already working means you are not starting from zero each day. You are stepping into momentum that is already moving. How often do you feel like you are trying to push everything forward by yourself? What would it feel like to step into something that is already unfolding? When unseen preparation is happening, timing becomes more meaningful. Delays may be adjustments, not denials. Redirections may be protection, not loss. Have you ever experienced something not working out only to later realize it led to something better? Confidence grows when you realize that outcomes are not determined only by what you see. There are influences beyond your awareness aligning circumstances, people, and moments. Do you believe there are things happening for your good even when you cannot trace them directly? Walking with this awareness also changes how you handle pressure. Instead of reacting quickly, you respond thoughtfully. Instead of assuming problems are permanent, you recognize they may already be resolving. When challenges appear, do you assume they will stay, or do you believe solutions are already forming? This mindset invites patience, not passive waiting, but peaceful expectation. You continue moving forward while trusting that progress is happening on levels you cannot measure. How comfortable are you with trusting processes you cannot see? Knowing heaven is working on your behalf also transforms how you interpret small moments. Unexpected help, timely conversations, new ideas, sudden clarity. These are no longer random. Have you ever had something fall into place so perfectly it felt intentional? When you live with this awareness, gratitude becomes more natural. You begin appreciating what is unfolding instead of worrying about what might go wrong. How often do you pause to notice what is quietly working in your favor? Trust also reduces the pressure to control everything. You still act, plan, and prepare, but you are not driven by fear. Be honest. How often do you feel responsible for making everything happen perfectly? Believing that heaven is working on your behalf also strengthens resilience. If something feels difficult, you trust that support is still present. When something feels delayed, you trust timing is still unfolding. How do you usually respond when progress feels slow? Expectation shapes perception. When you expect help, you notice assistance. When you expect guidance, you recognize direction. When you expect alignment, you see connection. What are you expecting most from life right now, struggle or support? This awareness also changes how you speak about your future. Instead of speaking with doubt, you speak with anticipation. Instead of uncertainty, you express readiness. What words do you use most often when you talk about what lies ahead? Walking forward with trust does not eliminate effort. It transforms effort. Your actions become cooperative instead of desperate. You move with intention instead of urgency. Have you ever felt the difference between striving and flowing? Support that is already in motion also changes how you approach decisions. Instead of fearing the wrong choice, you trust guidance will meet you along the way. Do you ever delay decisions because you fear making mistakes? Belief in unseen preparation brings emotional steadiness. Even when outcomes are unclear, your foundation remains strong. What helps you stay steady when life feels unpredictable? This perspective also influences how you view yourself. You are not isolated, unsupported, or overlooked. You are accompanied, guided, and strengthened. How would your self-confidence change if you truly embraced that belief? When heaven is already working, possibilities expand beyond what logic alone can predict. Opportunities may appear unexpectedly. Solutions may emerge creatively. Have you ever received an answer that came from somewhere you didn't expect? Trusting unseen work